And joining us now to discuss Vice President Duterte's impeachment trial, as well as the start of the Truth Commission's hearings on the bloody drug war of detained former President Rodrigo Duterte, former Chief Presidential Legal Counsel Attorney Salvador Panelo. Attorney Panelo, good afternoon to you. Thanks for joining us today and welcome to the program.
Good afternoon, Carmina.
You were quoted to have said that you see no need for this Truth Commission to, I guess, in so many words, even exist. Why do you say so, Attorney Panelo?
Yes, because if the purpose is to give a platform to the so-called victims, then the correct remedy is to file a case in the office of the prosecutor so that there will be a preliminary investigation where the respondent will be given the chance to counter whatever complaint they have. And if there's a prima facie case, then it should go to court. That is the correct remedy and procedure.
They did say as well that any findings may be forwarded to the government. Would you concede that this may be a start to that? That anything that they find out here may be forwarded to the government and then the legal process can commence?
But you don't have to do that. If you have a case against a particular person, then just file a case. Otherwise, you will just be engaged in a propaganda against whoever you want to subject your Truth Commission with.
Are you calling it that? Propaganda?
Yes, it is. Because it's the right remedy. You want justice? File a case and then prove your case in court. That's the correct platform.
We heard from Dean Raul Pangalanan there that this is going to be a platform for the victims' truths to be heard. What do you make of that?
Well, that's what he says. But the truth of the matter is, it's a platform to besmirch the reputation of the vice president or the president. They have to file a case. We've been asking them to file a case. It's been 4 years, and even beyond that, much earlier, they didn't file a case.
But you do know what they've been saying as well. They haven't been able to file a case because there was, lack of trust with the existing administration then. And so they weren't able to do that. Maybe they still do not have that amount of trust to file a case now, and that's why they're taking matters into their own hands by having this platform to hear the truths of the victims of the drug war. Attorney Panelo.
How can they not trust this present administration? This present administration has effected the arrest and the surrender of the former president to The Hague. And it's been 4 years since the assumption of the present administration, and even this administration has not initiated filing a case. And if you will believe what the former DOJ secretary said, now the ombudsman, he was quoted as saying that we didn't file a case because we have no evidence.
And they didn't have evidence because people were afraid to come out because they didn't trust the process.
Well, I don't think so. What do you call those who went to write their sworn statements and now pending at The Hague?
Isn't that the exact proof that they couldn't trust the system here, and that's why they had to find another way, Attorney Panelo?
I don't think so. The present administration says they're after these people. So what will stop them from not filing the case?
Attorney Panelo, over 6,000 deaths. Do you know the truth behind these deaths? This is government records, over 6,000 deaths. Many are saying that's even beyond that. But let me ask you, given that you were firmly in place then, do you know the truth behind the over 6,000 deaths recorded under the Duterte administration? And this is only quoting government records. Go ahead, Attorney Panelo.
That's recorded, so we should know the truth about it.
What's the truth?
On the basis of what is reported there. If you think that there is some irregularity, I'm sure the victims will tell their side. So you can file a case.
No, I was asking you directly, do you know the truth behind the over 6,000 deaths? And this is quoting government records. You were firmly in place then.
I responded to that already. I mean, I said the truth will be seen on the record because every death is recorded. The circumstances surrounding it are there. If you go against the circumstances enumerated therein, then you can present contrary evidence to dispute that. And that's why you have to file a case in court.
So you stand by those records, that there was nothing irregular with these deaths?
There is presumption of regularity with respect to official acts and records found in the government offices.
And you can only get to the truth when there is an investigation, correct?
Yes, then file it with the prosecutor's office because they are mandated by law to make preliminary investigation.
Would you concede then that this Truth Commission is part of that, given that any findings that they may have eventually will be forwarded to the government?
No, because you can do that in the preliminary investigation.
You're saying this is all part of 2028, Attorney Panelo?
Yes.
Why do you say so?
It's politics. Because, I will repeat again, the correct remedy is file it with the office of the prosecutor. That's their job.
But you know, as a citizen, do you feel or do you know for sure what happened then? That there hasn't been really a period to what happened during the Duterte administration, and that this is the way for the victims to air their truths, for the victims' families to air their truths.
If they have the evidence, they have the witnesses, they can file the case. And I'm sure if their case is strong, those who are accountable for whatever crimes they have committed will have to answer for them.
So, hindi rin kayo naniniwala na hahantong ito sa pagsasampa ng kaso?
That's not the point. Ginagawa nga nila ito para magpropaganda.
Oo nga. So, my question is, sa paningin ninyo, propaganda ito, sa paningin nyo ba, itong propagandang ito, as you call it, ay hindi hahantong sa pagsasampa ng kaso?
Ang problema nga, pinapahaba mo yung propaganda eh. Pwede mo namang idiretso yan para magkaroon ka ng katarungan.
So that's still not out of the equation that they will eventually file a case.
Ay, hindi po pwede yung mga eventually. Kasi sinisiraan mo ng sinisiraan eh. Bago mo ipapile. Kailangan, ipile mo na para magkaalaman na kaagad.
Bakit po paninira ang tingin nyo dito at hindi paghabol sa hustisya?
Kasi nga pinatatagal mo, if you're looking for justice, then file a case. That's the kind of rule of law we have. Hindi po pwede yung mga publisidad. Kasi, tinan mo, Carmina, kung sa fiscal ka, may oportunidad ka. Bibigyan ka ng hukuman o ng Office of the Prosecutor to respond. Dito hindi eh. Talagang propaganda ang labanan dyan eh.
Baka wala pa doon. Baka hindi pa naman nahahantong doon. Baka doon naman patungo.
The fact alone na nag-create ka ng Truth Commission, yun na yun. Nag-start ka na ng propaganda mo.
But and you don't believe that this has anything to do with the victims and the victims' families?
Yeah, wala naman tayong problema doon sa reklamo nila kung they really feel aggrieved, then file the case.
But then, do you also believe that with this kind of a commission, and it's going to be open to the public, and the public will themselves see what happened then? Kasi pag sa korte, pag nasampa na yan kaagad, baka hindi na rin masyadong maintindihan, mabantayan ng publiko. But this, it's out in the open, and people can see for themselves, Attorney Panelo.
I don't think so. Supposed to be all prosecutions open to the public. And media, I'm sure, will be there to cover it. Lalong-lalo pa tungkol yan sa mga extrajudicial killing. Hindi mawawala ang media dyan.
Attorney Panelo, let's talk about how this affects the Vice President's presidential run in 2028. You say that it's all about that. Given that there is this Truth Commission and that there was a case already filed 48 hours ago with regard to grave threats, do you think, and you're pretty close to the family, both as a friend and also, part of the inner circle, do you think that it is still worth for the Vice President to run for public office given all of these surrounding her, not to mention the impeachment trial that's currently ongoing? Why is it worth it? Go ahead.
Definitely. Remember that case of grave threats has only a prima facie case. And you should remember also that one of the reasons for filing that Article 4 complaint is, apart from the grave threats, they included inciting to sedition. And the inciting to sedition was dismissed by the Department of Justice. So, makikita mo na hindi pa sila nakakasiguro doon. Yung isa nga, sabi nila talagang there was an inciting to sedition, the national security was endangered, and so forth and so on. Dismissed. O, tapos may grave threats sila. Prima facie pa lang yun. Kakaroon pa kayo ng trial.
So, tapos may ganitong Truth Commission. Sabi mo, it's out to besmirch the Vice President's reputation and taint her run for office in 2028. Sabi nung iba kong nakausap, panimula pa lang to, baka dumami pa ang kailangan niyang harapin. Because you know her so well and you're part of the inner circle, do you think it's still worth for her to face all of these and still keep her eye on the 2028 elections?
Well, she said so herself. I'm ready to face any charge they will file against me.
Para sa'yo ba, worth it pa?
Bakit naman hindi? How can it be worth it kung talagang inosente ka? Bibigyan mo sila.
Attorney Panelo, let's talk about the impeachment trial. Halos fixture na po kayo sa likod pag nanonood po kaming lahat. What's your assessment of how it's going on so far? Magsimula tayo dun sa nangyari kahapon. Parang nalihis yung atensyon ng publiko dun sa kung ano talagang nangyayari sa takbo ng trial at napunta dun sa bangayan ng magkabilang panig. Attorney Panelo.
It's a waste of time. Look at this Article 1. I've been saying that the prosecution should have not filed the case because according to their witnesses, the basis for filing it does not exist. According to the witnesses, whatever findings they have are all preliminary and recommendatory, meaning not final, and subject to review by the commission itself as well as by the court. Kung wala ka palang final na irregular yung disbursement mo, so anong magiging basis mo for filing that case? It becomes an injustice. Kaya I said yesterday that the prosecution, tama yung sinasabi ni Robin Padilla, that the prosecution's job is not just to prosecute but to render justice. Kung nakikita mo na mali ang pag-file, it's your duty to dismiss it. On your own, you can file a motion to dismiss it dahil mali, dahil premature pa, Carmina. I'm not saying that they cannot file. They file the case after it becomes final. Pero sa ngayon, hindi pa. So we're wasting time. Paulit-ulit na nga sinasabi nila na hindi final. Subject to review. Meron pang 180 days, nakapending pa. So anong pinag-uusapan natin dito? Dapat hindi na.
Because based on the joint circular, failure to liquidate can already be is already prima facie, right? That something wrong was done.
Carmina, it's just prima facie, meaning that's rebuttable. Kaya nga hindi nga final eh.
Pero yun po ang...
Ako, alam mo ang theory ako dyan. The impeachment court can motu proprio dismiss the case without anybody asking it to dismiss it.
But they're already discussing it.
The defense can file also a case to dismiss it. Kasi wala nang legal basis kasi inamin na nga na hindi pa final eh.
But they're well into the argument already. They're well into presenting their counter narratives and narratives.
Carmina, there are many cases. Like me for instance, as a lawyer, pag nakita ko ng mali yung na-file, ako'y sa prosecution, private prosecutor, ay hindi ako papayag na itutuloy mo yan. Kasi that's an injustice.
Pero yung konteksto po na sabi nyo nga, hindi pa perfected, hindi pa conclusive ang findings. Nasa kalakitnaan pa lang ng proseso. But we're talking about a huge amount of confidential funds here na naibigay sa isang impeachable official na pinagkatiwalaan na gastusin ng tama. Kung yun pa lang hindi maliquidate ng maayos at mababa yung threshold dun sa kanilang pagpapangalaga ng mga pondong ito, it's the bare minimum and they couldn't even do it right. Pagkakatiwalaan pa ba ang taong yon? Yun ang sinasabi ng kabilang panig. Go ahead po.
Tingnan mo sino ba ang accountable officer? Pinagpipilitan nila na si Vice Presidente Inday Sara, and yet the very circular that they are invoking, nakalagay doon, it's either the special disbursing officer or the head of agency. Bakit si head of agency yung pinapala mo? Hindi naman siya tumanggap ng pera. Hindi naman siya nagpatupad ng disbursement. Kundi yung SPO. Doon lang may problema na. Mali na kagad. Tapos, yung sinasabi nilang fake yung mga fictitious, yung pala, hindi man pala prohibited yun. Tapos, yung mga sinasabi nilang proof of success. Ang gusto lang pala ng proof of success, yung may naaresto sila. Meron akong inilarawan kanina na halimbawa, kung because of the surveillance and intelligence information, nakakuha ka ng informasyon na may sasalakayin ng isang lugar. And because of that, pinadalan mo ngayon ng security force at hindi na natuloy yung gagawin ng mga kalaban ng Estado, that's success. Pero sa tingin ng auditor, hindi. Inahanap niya yung naghuhulihin. Kaya yan ang problema. Kasi
are you saying,
hayaan mo lang ang auditor na kulang ang galing sa pag-analyze o talino, talagang magkakamali ka.
So are you saying that this has more to do with the imperfect system, auditing system, that it has anything to do with the misuse and misappropriation of confidential funds? Attorney Panelo.
Kagaya nga yan, the provision is very clear that the accountable officer is either the special disbursing officer or sino bang ididemanda mo? Yung may hawak ng pera, na tumanggap ng pera, nagpapatupad, o yung nag-approve lang na, yan ang plano. Yan ang plano natin sa operation. So ikaw, gawin mo na. Kunin mo na yung pera at ipatupad mo na.
So pagdating po ng panahon na ang defense naman po ang magpepresenta, ano po ang hahanapin ninyo para mapatunayan po kung ano po yung paniniwala nyo ngayon? Because, andito pa lang tayo sa prosecution side pa lang. So, ano ang tingin mong kailangan maipakita ng defense para mapatunayan po yung sinasabi ninyo?
Unang-una, kung ako ang defense, hindi ako magpipresenta kasi sa ngayon, hindi mo naman napatunayan na may kasalanan ng kliyente ko. Ba't pa ako magpipresent? You're entitled to the presumption of innocence.
So, hayaan mong ganon? Hahayaan mong hanging?
Kung ako ang lawyer. Kasi as far as I'm concerned, they have not proved anything at all. In fact, all the witnesses have validated the theory na mali lahat ang kasong pinahil nila.
On to the last question, Attorney Panelo. So we discussed about, the Truth Commission and then the grave threats case barely 48 hours ago. That was filed as well. You still have the ongoing impeachment trial. You have the former president in The Hague awaiting trial and his daughter in the midst of all this. Can the Duterte brand survive all of these things happening right now? And if it can, how will it survive?
It appears so because if you look at the surveys, nananatiling mataas pa rin ang rating ni Vice Presidente Sara, given the fact na yung demanda sa kanya betrayal of the public trust. Pero ang trust rating niya mataas. Paano yun? Hindi nagko-coincide doon sa demanda mo sa kanya at sa mga tinig ng taong bayan na sinurvey.
Na
with
sinurvey.
3%.
Oo.
Yes. Pero alam naman natin na yun nagsasalamin ng karamihan.
Alright.
At nakita naman, tsaka nakita natin nung nakarang halala, nakita mo, hindi nanalo ang mga kumukontra sa kanila.
And you think that's going to carry through to 2028?
I think so, yes. Yes, I think so.
Okay, we're going to have to leave it at that. Attorney Salvador Panelo there, former chief presidential legal counsel, joining us this noon. Thanks again.